Protesters don't understand gun control at March for Our Lives, a video from OG Fleccas Talks. That is right, you guys. We are doing a throwback today. I wanted to unpack a handful of scenes in this video and also kind of compare some of the talking points from 2018 to today. But before we jump into that, welcome back to the channel, everyone. I do have a couple announcements. After Hours, my car channel, is resuming this weekend. Sorry for the delay on that. Been out of town, haven't been filming enough for it. A bunch of stuff. Anyways, this weekend it resumes this Sunday. Also, James Klug Clips channel, it's kind of hard to say. My Clips channel is launching this week, so stay tuned for that announcement as well. Just kind of posting 3 to 5 minute clips from all of my videos, everything like that. Maybe reviving some old good moments and all of that. And I guess lastly, this video is sponsored by my good friends over at Teach Hanley. We will talk about them a little bit more in a bit. Let's go ahead and jump into this OG Fleccas Talks video.
Basically, everyone here, it could all be boiled down to they don't want guns.
Would you be down for guns are illegal?
Yes.
We don't need the guns.
You lean more towards the all guns?
I'm on the all guns thing.
If you look at a weapon of war, if you could have an AR-15, why couldn't you have a nuclear weapon?
Damn, she thought she was spitting some facts right there. So that hasn't shifted much. Right? You go to these protests, these anti-gun protests, usually it's going to be the most extreme positions that are there. These are people that believe that they should take time in the middle of their day to go out and protest, and they're going to be the most motivated to show up and make their voices heard. So that's not too uncommon. Maybe like 2016, it was a little bit less common for people to just say, I want to ban all guns. Obviously, now, today, that's much more normalized. And then at these protests in 2018, this was a pretty normalized position as well. A lot of people will try to hide it, and then you dig a little bit deeper, and that's their true position. Let's see if we find that to be the case for some of these conversations.
Do you think handguns should be legal or illegal?
Yeah, sure. They could be legal. It's
Legal or illegal?
legal as long as you're not capable of killing dozens of people within a minute.
But the majority of mass shootings do use handguns, though.
That's a bummer.
A wise man made a good point to me today. He said, we used to march for our rights, and now we have people who are marching to take their own rights away and to take rights away from everyone. It's very odd.
Spot on. Anomaly showing up in the video right here, just spitting some facts. It's very true. I mean, we used to be out in the streets demanding rights, and now we're out in the streets demanding that we just be sheep. Nothing could ever go wrong if you do something like that. I mean, the government's going to take care of you. Don't worry. We want less rights. That's what these people are out here protesting.
I don't think they know the difference between a semi-automatic and an automatic, because they did. They know that automatic guns have been banned for a long time, and semi-automatic, that's pretty much every gun now.
Automatic meaning pull the trigger and basically rounds just exit the firearm until you run out of rounds in the magazine. That was a decent way of explaining it. Anyways, fully automatic has new sales have been banned. You can still buy fully automatic firearms. They're going to cost a very pretty penny, but you can't go buy them brand new anymore.
So if you want a ban on semi-automatic guns, you're banning all guns, basically.
You do not need an automatic rifle to be killing game.
Well, automatic rifles are illegal.
Semi-automatic rifle, excuse me.
Okay, yeah. Semi-automatic, obviously there is a difference. One trigger pull, one bullet. But I think when it comes to Second Amendment, it's more about self-preservation and self-defense, right?
No.
No. Okay, wait, hold on. So what is it about then? What is it about then? The way that Fleccas handled that right there was perfect, because people throw this argument out there saying, oh, well, you don't need this for hunting. Okay, well, the way that you should respond to that absurd claim is that, okay, well, what was the Second Amendment intended for? Was it really intended for hunting? That's it? That's the only reason why we have the Second Amendment? Because then it forces them to have the conversation of why the Second Amendment was created. And it was obviously created to protect the populace from the possibility of tyrannical rule. What's the first thing that any authoritarian government does before actually oppressing their population? It's remove their ability to defend themselves. You have China, Venezuela, Cuba, all of these countries, and however many countries in the past, disarming the population to make sure that there's no uprising. There's no civil war. They can do anything they want unchallenged because they're not worried about a bunch of sheep fighting back.
You don't need an assault rifle. You don't need a civilian doesn't need a. I have face tattoos. Like, I don't need to be owning a gun. I'm irresponsible already.
I feel like I'm in a zombie sci-fi horror movie where people are programmed robots, like the tech companies and the media just wound them up, and then they march and shake their hands and do whatever the TV tells them.
All right, everyone, let's take a few moments to talk about today's sponsor. I'm talking about my friends over at Tiege Hanley. They help men start and maintain a skincare routine by simplifying the entire process. And I've mentioned this before. I knew nothing about skincare before this, never did it. Tiege really does make it easy. I recommend you guys start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of that dirt and grime on your skin, an exfoliating scrub that gets rid of dead skin cells that you can use twice a week, and an AM moisturizer with 20 SPF and a PM moisturizer to help keep your skin hydrated all day long. Every box from Tiege Hanley comes with an instruction card that tells you when and how to use it. You guys, they make it incredibly easy. Their products will make your skin look and feel better than ever, and you can take my word for it because I'm on the internet. But if you don't want to, don't worry. They have over 7,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from all around the world. Also, members of Tiege Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Tiege is sponsoring today's video, they're offering all my viewers an amazing deal. Just hit that link down in the description below to get 30% off your first box. Very cool. Plus a free gift, which is either this face towel right here, super high quality, or this DOP bag, which after looking at, it's a very high quality, nice zipper, very cool. You guys, I'm already a customer. Join me by hitting that link down in the description below. Let's get back into the video.
What's going on here?
What did you see? The guns, fucking Trump, and eating peace.
Okay.
The sign is reversible, just like the Russian-styled R, that the NRA is indeed BS and is funneling Russian money to have gotten Trump elected. So we got to get this guy out of office.
All right, there's a new theory.
New theory right there. New blue and on conspiracy. I didn't see that one take off as much as maybe the Trump-Russia collusion. We haven't heard about the NRA's involvement, the NRA-Russia collusion there. That one didn't take off so much, so kind of interesting that they were just bringing that up. You go to a lot of these protests, though. I started making street videos in 2018. Actually, my first street video was March for Our Lives in DC 2018, so that's kind of interesting. But a lot of these protests, you go there and you hear all this talk about, QAnon and all these right-wing conspiracy theorists and everything. The only reason why you don't hear about these blue anon conspiracies is just because the Democrats own the media, so they choose not to talk about these things. You would hear conspiracy theories all day long at these protests. All day long at these protests, and nobody makes a peep about it. Nobody treats it as if it's, whoa, crazy conspiracy theorists get together and protest. No, they all get a pass because they're left wing. All right, what do we got here?
CNN es muy falso, muy malo, muy malo.
Bueno, ahí tenemos uno que no todo el mundo sabe.
I love these OG Fleccas videos because they just have like little bits of humor scattered throughout them. Anomaly just trolling CNN right there. Amazing.
What if a criminal came into your house with a gun? You'd be at a disadvantage.
Indeed, but that's just, I guess, the bad luck of my life, circumstance, or whatever. It had to happen. I don't know.
Run,
Just like that.
shelter, and hide, shelter.
And the last one would be if I run, say someone's breaking into my house, I would go into the deepest, darkest room in the house and hide. Then they come any closer and I have a gun, I shoot them. Do you not agree with that plan?
I don't agree with that. I would never shoot anybody.
Even if they're breaking into your house and have a gun themselves?
No, I would not shoot them.
Well, I guess we're different there.
Yeah, I guess you are different there. There's a difference there. The most interesting thing about this is Fleccas is out here saying, I want a gun to defend my life, to defend my loved ones, and my life is worth enough to where I'm willing to protect it with a firearm. He's not telling people, though, that you have to own firearms, you have to do all this stuff. It needs to be mandatory. This guy, however, is saying because I really just don't feel like protecting myself that much. I don't feel like protecting my family like that or any of that. Because I don't want the right to self-preservation. You can't have it either. That's the argument that's being made here.
A lot of Republicans think it's all about banning guns and completely disregarding the Second Amendment or repealing the Second Amendment, and it's not about that.
It's literally all about that. Anybody that tells you otherwise is lying. Every single time you dig into these conversations, they say it's not about removing your firearms. Okay, then what do you want to do? We want to remove firearms. That's the direction that it goes in. And then you ask them, why do they want to remove those firearms? Oh, well, because you can kill more people in a minute than a musket. Okay, by that logic, let's follow that logic for a quick second. You want to ban every single firearm being sold today. Including, they say, oh, well, there's no problem with bolt actions. You get rid of all semi-auto rifles and pistols, they would still go after bolt action rifles. They would still go after banning that.
It's not a question of abolishing the Second Amendment or taking people's guns away.
Because the point is not to ban guns.
It's not about taking guns away from people. No one's trying to do that.
I'm Australian. I am from Australia. Wait, what does it say? I can't read it.
I'm from Australia to say gun laws work.
I know that in Australia...
Australia is an obvious one.
Australia did it and was very effective.
I hate how they bring up Australia because the government basically forced people to bring up their guns. And according to gunfacts.info, homicide and firearm crimes actually increased after the firearm ban.
This is so unbelievably classic. Well, by the way, this guy is fantastic. Fleccas must have just found a fan at the March for Our Lives. I don't know what he was doing there. He's probably just hanging out. Maybe he thought Fleccas would be there or something. I don't know. Maybe he was having conversations with people. He just found this random guy that's pro-gun at an anti-gun protest. He is making a good point there. There's not enough data when it comes to mass shootings in Australia or anything to really prove that it's done anything when it comes to their violent crime or homicides or anything like that, because there wasn't enough mass shootings before their mandatory buyback. Something, though, that's the biggest takeaway here, which is very clearly laid out with Fleccas, with how Fleccas edited the video, is, it's not about taking guns, it's not about banning guns, and then, by the way, who we really want to look up to is Australia, who had a mandatory gun buyback. So it's not about taking the guns, and you're conspiracy theorists for saying that. You guys are super radical for saying that. How dare you even suggest that? And then we're gonna, in the same sentence, glorify a mandatory buyback program. Like, you don't have a choice there. You have to give your guns to the government, and they're just gonna they're gonna pay you with your own money. I don't know that few $100 or maybe even $1,000 is worth trading in your freedom.
The gun-free zones doesn't work. The gun regulation doesn't work. Chicago has the most amount of crime, gun violence, with the most amount of gun regulation.
What organization are you with? I'm with Fleccas Talks.
With what?
Fleccas Talks.
What is that?
It's a YouTube. Dr. Unicorn! Dr. Unicorn is here. He's back. And everyone...
He definitely got exposed right there. You know that Dr. Unicorn walked up and told him who that guy is being interviewed by. Also, I like seeing Will Witt featured in the video. How cool is that? This is like the prime time of street interviewing where everyone was out doing fun things in Los Angeles. I believe Will Witt left California. I know Fleccas left California. They were both in LA though. I'm not in LA. They had it a little bit tougher than I have it.
One sign is like, stop this now, not one more. And it's like, yeah, everyone agrees. And when it comes to actual solutions, like I'll say, should we put an armed security person at schools? And they're like, what is this, like a prison? I think having armed security in schools is a good idea?
No.
No?
No.
I think having an armed presence in high schools is absolutely idiotic.
I don't think fear is a good place to learn. I personally would never want to go to a school where I had to worry about, my teacher's gun going off by accident.
Same arguments being made today. The same exact arguments being made today. It's okay. We will only stop after we've banned every single firearm. So that's the position. So kind of interesting. A lot of these interviews haven't really shifted so much over the last 5 years. Now, it's important to keep in mind that a lot of these people are the most extreme examples of anti-gun activists. However, a lot of these positions haven't shifted too much. And then when you bring up something that's as reasonable as protecting children with an armed guard, such as we do over at banks, jewelry stores, our politicians, political buildings, all of that, when you bring up something as reasonable as that, it's absolutely not. Absolutely not. We cannot have our children living in a prison, as if that makes it a prison. I mean, how ridiculous of a conclusion is that to jump to? Most children are not horrified at the sight of police officers. They see a police officer and they say, oh, that's cool. Or a guard, oh, that's cool. Awesome. They don't think the way these people do after being indoctrinated to just absolutely despise police and the system.
And the idea of teachers having guns, it's like, do you think an 18-year-old could disarm me? I mean, I'm in pretty good shape for a 60-some-year-old.
You are. But do you think there's anyone in the schools that you work with who would be more capable with a gun?
I think that is a priority. It's just not a priority that should be there.
So, yeah, it's a pretty typical direction for a conversation like that to go in. And Fleccas is doing an absolutely fantastic job pushing back. He's pushing back pretty hard in this video compared to some of his other videos. I feel like he's pushing back really hard. He's doing a fantastic job. Obviously, he's the OG when it comes to these YouTube street interviews, when it comes to like the very heavily political protest coverage and everything like that. A lot of those conversations, they'll go a couple directions. They'll go, no, we don't need armed guards at schools, and then no, we don't need armed teachers at schools. And when it comes to the armed teachers, I think still a lot of people think that's pretty silly. And I would too if it was like a mandatory concealed carry permit for teachers. But it's not that way. I mean, there's Sentinel programs in Florida that we've seen that are, you get well over 120 hours of training, and they essentially become like a deputy, and those people are able to carry a firearm on campus concealed, not just open carrying in the classroom. And if a teacher feels as though that they're responsible and skilled enough to be doing that, they would be those people going through 120 plus hours of training. This lady's not going to do that. But in her mind, it's, oh, well, they're going to make me carry a firearm. So that's what her argument right here is. But Fleccas asking a great question. Well, do you think there's other people that might have an interest in doing that and would be totally capable of carrying a firearm within the classroom? Of course there would be.
Do you think an on-site security with a gun, concealed carry, is not a bad thing?
I think our schools aren't prisons, so let's stop treating them like that.
It's the same argument every single time.
And our banks aren't prisons, our airports aren't prisons, and we have security there.
Cool. Yeah, those aren't schools now, are they? Schools should be a safe zone.
Yeah, so shouldn't we protect our schools if they want to be a safe zone? There's kids there.
We absolutely should protect our schools through good policy, not through arming people with guns in school.
Yeah, they're just not even thinking about the process there. What is required to make an area a safe zone? A bunch of sheep sitting there unarmed, unprotected, does not make you safer. I mean, this is common sense stuff here. That's why the overwhelming majority of mass shooters go to gun-free zones to carry out their attacks.
But people who break the laws and have guns and want to do harm to people don't follow gun laws. If it says, hey, no guns in the school, they're not going to be like, ah, crap.
Yeah, I gotta say, I watched a handful of Fleccas videos. This is probably one of the hardest he's pushed back on people. I mean, he's doing a fantastic job. He's obviously pretty familiar with this topic, just because you can tell by the questions that people follow up with. But I think a lot of this conversation is also just common sense, right? Okay, you want armed guards in all these other places to protect jewelry and money and all of that, but you don't want them in schools to protect children? I would argue that's much more valuable than jewelry or money. All right, last bit right here.
The conversation and the language on a human life is just very interesting. Like, it's just so fickle, it's just numbers. And it's not. Like, we just need to talk about how we can change it. And maybe
to talk about changing the entire culture, it's like I'm talking about how to protect these kids on Monday. It's like if you want to talk about the gun culture in the U.S., like that's a big conversation, that's a whole different debate. Yeah, and to change people's... And I want to actually solve the problem, not say, oh, people should be better, people shouldn't care about guns.
When it comes down to it, it's hit or miss. I don't think it actually makes us safer to have armed security officers.
Yeah, these people, first of all, what on earth is happening right here? But second of all, I want to go back to this right here.
I'm talking about how to protect these kids on Monday.
I'm talking about how to protect these kids on Monday. So well said. And it's such it's such a common sense argument. The fact that they're pushing back on that, having armed guards on schools or any, I understand the debate around the teachers being able to, similar to the Sentinel program in Florida, I understand the debate around the teachers being able to obtain a concealed carry permit and get tons of training and be able to do that on campus. I get that debate there. But an armed guard, there is no good argument to support that stance of saying, nope, no armed guards on schools. Sitting ducks, that's it. Reality kicks in. There are evil people out there. We need to be protecting our children. I will say one of the primary takeaways from this video would be the focus on assault rifles. That's pretty much the only difference from language that I've seen shifted from 2018 in this video to now, has been a lot of their focus is assault rifles. Now, I know some of you guys are already commenting, that's still a focus today. Yes, it is. But they've changed the wording. They used to say only assault rifles. They had the problem with that. That was the big focus. Now they've shifted the wording, and keep an eye out for this. They've shifted the wording to assault weapons instead of assault rifles because they broaden the umbrella of what they're covering that they want to ban. So it's not just assault rifles anymore, it's assault weapons, meaning anything with a detachable magazine, semi-auto, anything like that. So that's one of the biggest takeaways for me watching this video. I haven't seen too much shifting. A lot of it's the same old conversation where, oh, we just want to ban this, and then you start to unpack and they just want to ban basically everything. They want to take away your guns because for some reason to them, that's a good idea. Even though throughout history, the first thing a tyrannical government does is disarm the populace because there's no pushback that way, which is that's a common sense understanding of how tyranny works. The founding fathers definitely understood that. But yeah, the biggest takeaway, absolutely, assault rifles, the major focus on that. Today, it's assault weapons because they're being a little bit more, they're still trying to be kind of sneaky about banning all firearms, but that broadened language has really started to push them in that direction of just basically a blanket gun ban. Certainly everything that's semi-auto, which is the overwhelming majority of firearms today. You guys, let me know what you thought about this OG Fleccas Talks video down in the comment section below. As always, if you want to check out the full video, I'll put a link down in the description below. And I'm actually really curious, what do you guys think about the difference in talking points? Have you noticed them shift at all? Have you not? Let me know what you think. If you guys enjoyed my commentary, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos if you're not subscribed already. And hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. And I'll catch you guys all in the next video.